Um, all that race stuff, I believe, like, you know, and I'm not saying you're stuck up on it, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to correct anyone. And, like, don't you get fed up? Is your mic on? Don't you get fed up with people not understanding that we really are a human race? Has there been hate, division, this and that? And when I spoke earlier, you know, like when we talk about the Matrix, that's just programming. Do you understand? That's something that has been ingrained into society. Everyone wants someone to look down upon. It goes back thousands of years. And I think what we're really doing, like I said, I'm going back to it again, we're working from our heart spaces, and a lot of people are waking up to we're the human race. That color and stuff like that. I have like 2% Senegalian and Gambian in me. You know what I mean? I'm white appearing. My stepmother's from Iraq. Her mother was from Morocco, the northern part of Africa. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm very mixed. I have Christians in my family. I have Greek Orthodox in my family. I have Muslims. I have Jews. Um, you know, it literally. My best friend. She's in the front room right now. She lives with me. She's been my friend for 40 years. I'm 42 years old. We grew up together. She's biracial. All right. Her father was from Selma, Alabama, right? Her mother was French Canadian. So she came out, I call her my honey mustard. This is my wife. I love her. I'm a gay man, but the closest thing that I'll ever have a wife is my best friend Lisa, okay? By the way, just for the record, I do not like white women. I love my black princesses. Anyways, so
Wait,
her
what?
grandson. Okay, her son was biracial. It only
Wait,
takes one or two
can I
generations to literally change your outward appearance, but it goes so much more deeper as far as skin color.
can I ask you
Goes to
something?
soul signature. Yes, go ahead.
Were you asking me a specific question
Well, no,
about it?
you just touched on something. I wasn't. I'm sorry. You were talking about race and stuff. You know, and I just feel like
No,
people
because
get so caught up in like thinking of outside appearance when what really truly is your essence as a human being. Doesn't matter what we look like. Have you ever met an ugly person or even like smashed an ugly broad and you're like, you know what though, this girl, she's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the
So
end of the day, it don't matter. You know, go
I mean,
ahead.
that's a kind of funny way to look at it, but I mean, yeah, the point is still
But it's
valid.
true.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You know, can I remind you the word human has hue in it? Hue means color.
And I barely have it.
Anyway, you're not white, you're not black, we're not brown, we're not. I
No,
mean,
you're
we're not
fucking
black.
human.
Yeah, we're human. We're human beings. You can't tell me the color of your soul. You can't. Everyone seems to have the same color blood underneath. So I mean,
That's right.
you're right. It was taught. It is definitely taught. You know, something I experienced when I was in Germany. Two things I want to share real quick.
Social
Um,
programming.
Yeah, well, the thing is that we as human beings always got to find something to hate. I don't know what that's about. I really don't get that part of it all.
I
I mean, I
don't.
get it. I get it when people do things wrong to you. Do you have a right to have your walls up? But what I experienced in Germany, what I thought was interesting, because there's not really a large sum of ethnic people there. And so they only have essentially their own people there, kind of like China. The
Well,
majority is their own.
did.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Did.
yeah, did. All right. Well, at the time that I was there, it was majority. It was mostly Germans. So, but what I found funny was that amongst them, I found that the year and a half that I was there, I saw that the blonde head ones don't like the black
Dark
haired
haired ones. Absolutely
ones,
not. The,
and
the,
I
the
thought,
North, yeah, I'm
yeah,
Polish. I understand completely.
The
yeah, I
blonde
thought that
brunette
was just
that
silly.
like conflict goes beyond just like
Wait. Let me finish, man. Hold on. Let me
yeah,
finish,
White
forgive me,
man.
people
forgive me.
don't even fucking like
Oh
white
boy.
people, bro.
It's not what I want to get to. You know, it's funny how that happened. I was just pointing that out. It's just funny how that happens, how we do all that. Even if it doesn't even matter if you're dark, if you have a different
Western
hair color.
Europeans, the English, the Irish, the Scottish, the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese,
Hmm.
didn't even look at Eastern Europeans as human. They looked at them as subhuman. You know what I mean? Like white people couldn't even fucking get along.
I hear you.
It's tribalism.
I wanna welcome in Chaplain. How we doing, brother?
I'm well, and thank you for having me up, everybody. I've been listening to just everybody speaking, and I just think it's a beautiful thing for all of us to just be able to be candid here. And I just wanted to clarify, Mr. Experience Host, when I said the game of life, I was referring to when you were talking about how you are presented, and I'm kind of paraphrasing this, forgive me, with like situations here on like TikTok holding this kind of space where you have like all these options on how you want to proceed, right? You could be like combative or abrasive. Again, I'm paraphrasing here, or you could be like a teaching moment, like all these different things. And I feel the same way where it's just like that has been kind of like the game. And I don't mean to like kind of soften or belittle what life actually is. Obviously, it's more than like a game. But again, I didn't mean any offense and any kind of intentional like connection towards what you were talking about.
Dude, let me tell you first and foremost, I really do appreciate and respect the fact that you came up and articulated that, because I did respond in a way because I thought you meant like just from a solid standpoint of
that's where I was like, I was compelled to come up. I was just like, I didn't mean that at all, man. Like, I don't want that to go out, so I had to clarify the thing. Like when we realize, like as Tupac said in the song, like The Outlaws, once we realize like life is a game and that there's like rules and levels to the game, like then life becomes a game meant to be played, right? And we could play this game of life in a joking manner, in a very dark manner, or we could play it in a way that is enlightening and stuff like that. So I was just something, again, like I was like aligned with everything you were saying. And just when I made that comment, I felt like, oh my gosh, he totally misinterpreted what I was saying.
Just like, sorry.
So I just wanted to just like clear everything up and just, just forgive me if I gave off. I see now, like hindsight, how those words just can be interpreted that way. But let me just say, first and foremost, that whatever I interpreted it as does not affect who you are and what you stand by. So therefore, like I get it was we did misunderstand, and all we could do was create that bridge to communicate what we didn't understand, and that's all it was. You know what I'm saying? Like who you are and what you represent is your truth, and there's nothing to overly, you know what I'm saying? Oh, look, because I respect where you were coming from, and in its essence, even if I didn't understand it until we clarified that, just for the simple fact that your own individual experiences do matter, and I don't want to tread on going off of what I'm saying and correlating that to your own personal experiences, because I like to create that difference. Like, look, this is I'm speaking from my own experience, and then when you interject, that is your own experience, and I love to welcome it in and as with much passion, much respect as possible. That's all. 100%. Amen, brother. And I truly like admire you for just like that mission intention. So thank you again for just like coming on that bridge with me and just like understanding, because that's something just personally is a lot more difficult than it should be here on TikTok, where it's just like I try to build this bridge and people don't want to come across. They just want to light it on fire, right? Throw it in my face. But again, the next level of that game for me is just like, do I want to try to rebuild this bridge, or do I want to like start throwing stones or whatever? So like, again, like I try to just be in the present moment, which I believe I commented earlier about just kind of how I kind of was experiencing what was going on here. Is just like we're all in this present moment, just like listening to like Mr. Experience, like just being in the present moment until he kind of went off on what I said. So again, I didn't want to like mess up that flow. I felt bad and guilty for messing up.
I would like to say something too, like in retrospect, like what I did also is like I in a weird way I kind of knew you didn't mean like all the way a game, but in another sense though, I used what you said for the people who did see it as such, and I wanted to transmute that message alone into something for that those people needed to hear specifically. So, like I said, like I speak with influence, not just for the person that I'm speaking to, but the people that are listening as well. So it's like it makes for much for a more refined connection when you keep it aware that you're not the only person. You're not just talking with one person. There's other people listening as well. So I just try to keep that flow of understanding going as much as possible.
Love that, brother. I love all of that, everything that you said. You know, like we should always just be aware there's more than just the people in our space, in our homes, who might be listening.
And it's not to, and it's funny too, because think about it like this, right? Be aware, but think about it, beware. And a lot of people would beware of their awareness, but it's not something to beware of. It's to be aware of. And don't fear your own awareness. Just be aware of it. Like, don't frighten yourself.
I love that wording. It's like when I said, like, like doing good for the good of good, and you were just like, did I see that correctly? It's just like, it looks like a word salad, but if you slow down and kind of read it, like, hopefully you'll get it. So I hear you, brother. You're preaching to the choir with me here.
Man,
so,
dog,
like,
I look at words as little, man, like, it's like beautiful little, like they're beautiful with the intention, but it's like I like to be aware of like what they can do. You know what I'm saying? One little bad thing and it can be made a bad thing. So it's just, you know,
or just
being
taken
respectful.
completely negatively, right? When not intended. I used to do stand-up comedy, so this is like something that the art of like doing comedy like teaches is just like the power of one word, right? You change one word into, like I don't know. I don't want to get you in trouble, but like these things that we can't talk about in comedy. We don't talk about grape or anything, or if we do, we know what kind of reaction we're going to get as comedians, right? Like, so it's just like we know, like, or we should know or be aware maybe of our awareness of like our use of the words that we do know how to, like again, okay, now I remember. Somebody said, I believe it was Venta9, who said, you're not good, like using words, I believe. I'm kind of recalling, correct me if I'm wrong, which inspired me just to be like, just use the words that we are good using for the good of like people. And so that was like the word sound. And that's more for me than anybody else. Forgive me. Like that's my own like quirk about me. But
Of course.
yeah, I mean,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. Continue. Yeah. Please interrupt me whenever you
It's
guys
the
can, because
no, dude. I try not to. However, the thing is this, right? When we talk about words, right? Let's try to put words under a microscope real quick. When we talk about words, right? We're just thinking that the words themselves it's what's creating the reality, but it's not necessarily that, right? It's how we're using the word and in the placement and the environment and the setting and the precise measurement of a specific articulated reason as to why we said it, right? So the thing is, it's like a lot of people are banking on the words themselves to show favor once they use them, which in reality, it's not the words that's showing favor. It's the placement that you're placing the words in the reality, in the environment, in the specific location that's gonna align with it's gonna feel like, you know what I'm saying? So check this out. It's like this. You said you do stand-up comedy. And so check this out. There's a guy, I'm not sure of his name or anything like that, but he refers to grandmothers as meemaws, right? And that's like his whole gimmick, like the meemaws and you know what I'm saying? Now, if you were to say grandmas, that would make it a little bit more, grandma, that reminded me of the grandma. Now, meemaw, right?
right.
It changes
It not necessarily changes, but it gives like a different depth to just like a grandma. Grandma's just like that could, but you say Mima, then it kind of like resonates with certain people
and
or
it
makes people.
it lessens the feeling of a grandma into, oh, I'm a meme. You can play with it, right? Like so now check this out. Check this out. I could talk about an old person being a stand-up comedy person. I can talk about an old person and say something very, very bad. Typically, right? We'd all look at it like, oh, that guy should have said that. But in reality, what's happening here, I can say something really, really bad as long as I make whatever the object is that I'm making that comment about feel as comfortable as possible, right? So that's the act of when the comedian highlights the person they're talking about. And then they say good things about that person to allow them to feel comfortable enough to know, like, hey, this is, and they're the comedian is communicating with the person through a fine line of understanding what humiliation looks like and how to cap it to where you're not exploiting someone by humiliating them, but rather making funny of a situation that might hurt them. You're creating a joyful intention more so than a harmful one. So I can go
Hopefully,
and
right?
be like, hey,
Hopefully, right? Like that's a big, like this is where working with a bunch of comedians, I'm just like, do you really think like you were doing that?
it's all about the intention, and it's all about who you are as
and
a
how we
person.
receive it, right? Like this is where, as an Asian person, we get a lot of that focus and attention. Whenever I'm like before I did comedy, I'd find like this pattern where like I would come in and they'd always put me in the front row, dead center, where the comic would just be like, "Oh, we got an Asian in the crowd," just and then say something about me. So when you say like this is like the art of comedy, again, I'm paraphrasing with my own words. This is where like it is an art, and some people don't understand that art is like Charlie Chaplin is a comedian that I like pay homage to with my name here, Chaplin Charlie, but I'm also a chaplain role. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but Chaplin said, our pain can be the cause of someone else's laughter, but our laughter should never be the cause of someone else's pain, which I found very like deep in just as a comedian. So when I was a comedian, I did a lot of Asian material from my own experience. But then I got to a point where I would hear like other races like using that against me. Not, if that makes any sense, where I'm just like, oh man,
No, it makes 100% sense. And you know what else? I would like to offer another gem, if I may,
please.
like another dimension of alignment. Okay, so there's a different way to align with people without words, without intention, and this level of awareness comes from your specific individuality, right? It comes from specifically who you are. Now, the thing is this: me being a Black individual, I can go and say certain things and it be allowed, right? Because I'm acting
Like
within
the
that
hard R,
domain.
like is that like in reference to you just like you can hard
Yeah, so
R like
so it's like
Can I ride the hard R? Hold on, let me tell
no
you.
no 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 no
not
no
because
no no no
you
no.
you can't. I don't think you can claim like 2%
So
of.
no. So check this out. Check this out. So what I'm saying is this: how black individuals, and not all but some, how they refer to themselves and how they use the word, the NA at the end of it, right? Not the R, not that is for other people of different, like that is how they do it, that's how they do it. I'm talking about Black individual people. With the NA, they say it within a domain of which they know they can say it because of certain aspects of how the society is. They can say it certain, and they condition other people not to. They can say it, so they say it they say it because they know they can say it. And other people want to say it, but they know they can't. So it causes this dysfunction. But the thing is this: those those individuals are acting within their alignment of placement of what they know they can do, which let's go with Caucasian people, right? There are certain actions within the Caucasian race that they innately know that they're able to do that, they know other races may not be able to do. They know these things. They know that. So, but the thing is this, a lot of people would try to say that, oh, well, they know that, they're creating systematic discrimination and stuff like that. They would then know, but then again, that's the thing though. It's not all of them. It's not all of the Caucasian people spreading like talking the way that other people are talking. It's not all black people who identify as being, ghetto and stuff like that. It's not all. Like the thing is, it's not all. It's not you. It's not me. It's not them. It's not. You know what I'm saying? We are who we are.
Oh,
Individually.
when we use like term pronouns like they and them, that implies like everybody of them, right? Like, so this is where like our words kind of like condemn ourselves in that kind of like limited context where it's just like, oh, what white people, and not to throw like white Caucasian like brothers and sisters of our humanity species, under the bus or anything like that. But when I hear them just kind of tell the ethnically black brothers and sisters of humanity that they do not see color, I know what they're trying to say, but the way that they worded it opens them up for a lot of, like you said, or not maybe as you said, but I say like a lot of glitching out where it's just like, oh, really? You don't see color? How do you like tell the colors of a stoplight? And so it's just like, what do you mean you don't see color? Right? And then they start kind of getting put into this corner where you see them kind of collapse. And then, if that makes sense, not to interrupt, please go.
Yeah, no, I agree also with that. But then that brings another dimension of awareness, right? I just gave you a different piece of awareness, being aligned with your inherited qualities of what you know you can do. That's another domain of being aligned with certain aspects of self. Now, the thing is this: there are other. Now let's become aware of when someone tries to go against you in that sense, right? You can step outside of that awareness and jump into the awareness of realizing that that person is only perceiving and viewing you from a specific lens of understanding. And that's another domain of awareness that if you can learn to master, it'll cause you not to feel the need to point the finger at someone who's being discriminatory just due to the reason of understanding where their level of awareness is and where yours is. It's not to entail that you're more intelligent or more better off. It's to say that you understand by their responses of where they're vibrating at. And it's not a judgmental thing that you have to voice, whether it's something that you have to come to understand within self. And when you understand that key factor, then you can remove yourself physically from that experience as well as mentally from that experience. And if you can't physically move yourself from that experience, then mentally you can understand that experience and you don't have to react from that experience physically. It's like the way you react to certain things is the puzzle piece to your divinity. And once you can capture that, you can capture the world, which not just the world as not from a societal standpoint, but your world, your innate world. You are the universe, we're talking about you. We're not talking about what's happening outside of in the world outside right now. Like, and when we could bring that perspective back to you, then it makes people get a little bit uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, well, damn, we talk about all these things out there, but when it comes back to you and what you're going to do, it makes people a little bit frightened of themselves now because they know now that they can be that those people out there, or they could be the person to make the individual difference.
Like, it's like being Superman in a bunch of like Clark Kents and stuff like that. It's just like, you guys are all like, right? It's just like like I hope I'm like tracking correctly, but like it's
Yeah,
just.
you got it. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I can tell by your laughter. It's just like I can already tell. Just like that's like
No,
a.
and I know you got it too. Even though your responses are animated, I can tell from your understanding that you get it by how you respond to it. So it's like I don't even have to ask you if you get it because I can tell by how you're vibrating that it like the information that you're receiving is clarification and confirmation. So therefore, I don't have to stress the fact of did you understand what I said? Because I know
Well,
because
thank you.
I know
Yeah, right. Like
absolutely.
it's like a poker game. You got to read on me. Like like the
Look,
cards.
and you're ever changing. You're ever changing. So understand that I never got a for sure read on who you are. You're ever changing, and nobody ever has a for sure reading on who you are. Not even you. So don't ever put that limitation on yourself. You
Thank
see
you.
what I'm saying?
Thank you for the correction in that, and I will keep that in my heart.
Correction is love. Correction is love.
Correction is
Correction
love,
is
right?
love.
Like but there is a correction that can be called love that really isn't what I and probably a lot of us on this panel would call like our loving like active correction, if that
Well,
makes
the
sense.
willing. So the willing. Let's put it like this: the willingness to be corrected is love. If a person is willing to be corrected and they receive it willingly, then the act of them being willing to do so is love. And I could respect that 100% versus someone saying, oh, what I'm doing is love. And this is your definition of love as well, versus someone willing to say, hey, this is love for everything for me too. So yeah, when someone's willing to say, receive correction, then that is then the distinction of what love is. Willingness is love, and not willingness is it. And a lot of people could spin that into something bad, right? So it's just like in the specific circumstances that you are faced with your own understanding of self, and when you're understanding what's happening outside of you, with your better judgment of what you know thus far, it's up for you to entail what that is. And so it's like now leaving that person accountable for their own actions and leaving you accountable to not feel responsible for what they did in spite of what you said. So I think, if people could learn how to just be with other people and be not being is a lot harder than it sounds because you have to want to listen to other people other than yourself. So when you start to hear things that resonate, you might want to pop off and go like, oh, you know what? This is, I just got this, and while it may be the most profound thing, you've ever thought of, and you might lose that train of thought, it's important to remain like focused on that thought until it's your time. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the patience comes in. And when you start to look at other
Discipline,
people
right?
and they
The
live
patience and discipline within our own selves like comes into
absolutely.
application, right? Amen to that, brother.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And it takes time, It takes time for us to be better for ourselves. And not to say it takes time in a lazy way, right? Because a lot of people will use that terminology and say, "Oh, this takes time." Well, no, a lot of things you just have to. It takes time for you to really work on yourself. From like when your time is taken to go do other things, and you're like let's say watching sports, like you're playing video games, and you're giving all your time to these external factors. That's all the time it's taking. Now, once you start to put that stuff down and give your time back to yourself, you'll be rewarded with everything that you didn't give yourself. And that's just what happens. So it's like a lot of people will sit on it takes time, but it really only takes the time that all it takes is the time that it takes for you to give back to yourself. Is to steer your attention back to yourself. All these other things got your attention. Oh, these supermodels,
To
oh, these
get out
OF
of our own ways,
fans.
right? Like that's why we say like
Yeah,
we are our own worst enemy, right? Like not
yeah,
Democrats or Republicans.
absolutely.
Like we are our own worst enemy, right? Who
Yeah,
we are
absolutely.
inside
Absolutely.
is who we're fighting, right? And so this is where I think of just like Eastern philosophy of the yin and the yang. There is white and black, and within the light and the darkness is light and darkness in itself in this thing. So like I am just like resonating and aligning with like everything like you've been saying. So thank you for that, and I hope everybody else on the panel here also is kind of aligned as I feel right now. If that could be anything.
Dude,
Mike,
Chaplain, Chaplain, I want to say something, dude. I really do appreciate your energy, like more than you know. And I want you to understand that it's not in the way of anything. Like literally, your energy is literally like giving me the energy to keep this going because I can feel the passion. And I'm like, yes, the drive,
you gave me this energy,
passionate.
brother. So it's just like you filled
You know
up
what
my
I'm
cup
saying?
and it was running over, and now it's so. I love that relationship, right? Like that's something that I thank you for that. You know, like that really truly like warms me. So I appreciate you and love you. You know, just for speaking that to me, even though you know, like it was something I've been told when other people on TikToks like just see me like as you all see me now with the same passion and just energy and just say like this guy's on drugs or this guy needs mental help, and I'm just like it's like yeah, I mean I'm high on life and yeah, I know like I'm crazy, but you know to me if other people call me crazy then I know that to me, normal is crazy. Therefore, them calling themselves normal is crazy to me. So that's how I kind of like rationalize it in my own head to be like, just don't even bother with it, Charles. That's something they're dealing with inside, which I learned. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard this saying where whenever we point a finger at like someone or something, we have three fingers generally, usually pointing back at us. And when somebody told me that, like, you know, I was just like, wow. So like, I always just think about a way to point something out that is resembling like all five fingers I have like at them and nothing at me. But again, I always keep in mind that I do probably have some kind of finger and that I have to be aware of, if that makes any sense. So for me, just
Yeah.
being a single 44-year-old, you know, American, South Korean human being, you know, like I feel grateful, you know, when I gotten out of that unawareness phase and then like find myself like looking back and be like, wow, I can't believe I didn't see that sooner. Right. And just like, I think about the moral of the rabbit and the tortoise, like the race, right? Where as a kid, I was just like, I don't understand like what this means.
Oh
But
yeah, I have that. I've had a, and look, I want to let you know something. Like this is another dimension of awareness, right? Like I know I'm taking everybody on these little dimensions, but I like the drive,
layers,
you know what I'm
man.
saying?
We're going through layers of like these discussions. So I love it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. So the another dimension of awareness, right, is, and this is gonna be like the toughest. This is gonna be the toughest. But the thing is this, you know, like while we may be aware of how things are happening outside of us and how we show up in certain aspects and stuff like that, the biggest thing of all that's gonna like really shake the room for us is when we become aware of how hard we were being on ourselves. And I think, you know, it's like a really big deal, you know, when you can step out of Chaplin's body and he can view himself on the TikTok screen and see how hard he's being on, you know, trying to have it, whatever it is, whatever resonates, whatever, to have it, to hold it, to appreciate, to acknowledge. You know, he's driving himself to make sure he knows and he's preparing himself for never not being aware again. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks. It sucks when you're not aware of something and then you get used and abused and you get tormented, not just by the people who did it, but by yourself of how you should have showed up. So it's just like that when you look at it that way, you know, when you get to see how hard you're being on yourself, it makes for a different experience, you know, because you don't have to have anything figured all out. You know, you don't have to do anything. You literally don't have to do anything. You don't have to be here. You don't have to choose to keep going. You don't have to choose to tune in. You don't literally have to. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't. You have the power not to. In in certain situations though, people are conditioned to not be allowed to, but they still have the power. They're not allowed to. But the thing is, like when you think about forming a connection, you have to be very mindful of why. Because you can think that you're trying to form a connection based off of companionship and then be in a relationship with someone who is hard to hold a flame to that. You know what I'm saying? And then you're surprised. And then you're like, oh, well, I wanted someone who could be a companion. Oh, I wanted someone who could, and it's very easy to be susceptible to thinking that you're right with someone you're supposed to be with because of a lot of people equate being in a relationship with similarities. We got to have a lot of similarities for us to be together. We've got to have a lot of the same qualities and traits for us to even, make anything like this happen. And what a lot of people come to realize is that they're nothing like this person. And that's okay, right? Cool. So what happens here is they get out of that relationship and then they jump into the next one. I'm looking for someone who's compatible with me, who relates to me. I'm looking for somebody who has the same qualities as me.
And then that
Okay,
person
boom.
isn't nothing like we were again, right? We just constantly
Exactly.
repeat like
Oh
the
yeah.
same
Oh
cycle
yeah. Oh
of just
yeah.
like,
We're riding the wave. We're
I'm on my
riding the
fifth
wave,
divorce
baby.
because I realize like they are all
Yeah.
not like meeting up to my expectations when we should be like maybe
Yeah.
my expectations need to be examined.
Yeah. Oh man, do they? And not even just that, right? So the thing is this, you'll find a lot of people who go throughout life like that, and they'll just kind of recycle the same mentality and they're looking for the same result and stuff like that. So, a lot of us are guilty of this. A lot of people were looking for someone that connects with us on that type of level. But you know what? A lot of us aren't prepared to be with someone who's nothing like us. We're not prepared for that dynamic because, it just so happens for the person that's not like us that be the direct thing we need. And, we're going for the things that's nothing like us, for the things that are like us. And therefore being susceptible to not growing. It's the things that are not like us that help us grow because we're not used to these different experiences. Not to say that you should go out there and because you see yourself as a good person, go out there and find a bad boy. That's not all at all what I'm saying.
Make
That's
that
not what I'm
disclaimer
saying.
very clear, right? We're not preaching go get
Yeah,
the
you see,
best.
yeah.
Can I
But
Yeah,
chime
it's
in
what
real
I'm
quick? That's
saying.
hilarious. That's so hilarious that you said that. You're like, go out, find the bad boy. And there's so many women out here, and you were earlier talking about like, like the inversion of like the divine feminine. It's all about that muffin cake and pop that thing. And, we hear in these musical programmings and stuff that are, energetic works at the end of the day. Um, no one has any self-worth anymore. It's like, and if you're expecting yourself and expecting to find like that perfect partner, like everyone wants to say a relationship is pure bliss and it doesn't take any work, when in all actuality, the hardest thing you could ever do is hold any type romantic, platonic relationship together. It takes work. It's not easy. Okay. We have so many vices, all these dating apps, this, that, the other, the third. Um, but never at the end of the day, and this is for the guys and the girls out there, never expect you from somebody else. When you hold yourself to a standard, if you expect someone to have that baseline standard of like that moral compass or what you expect, and you expect them to, to kind of have a baseline kind of expectation of that, no, No, don't play yourself. And that's not being mean. That's just telling you the reality of what it is. Because what we hold inside is what we feel. So what we feel, our moral compass and everything, what we expect. That's all gained from our inner, like our own experience, right? But experience is individualistic. So we all learn to expect different things. And you're never going to find a partner that's just like you because there's only one you in this world. Okay? That's what makes it so hard.
You're preaching to the choir as well, there, brother. You're like, this is where there's a reason I'm still single at 44. But I like just know what people can expect of me. So a lot of my like shortcomings or kind of like lifesaver preservers in this case, however I choose to look at it, comes from my awareness of just like what I bring to the table and will consistently be at the table, if that makes sense. And I had like my
Well,
last
no,
fiance.
you have a baseline. You have a baseline. And you have a baseline of expectation because you have an expanded awareness. People like us, and this is going to sound very narcissistic and grandiose on a psychological kind of evaluation level, if y'all are like nitpicking me as far as like my verbiage and expression for going that deep, but it really could be perceived as that way. And I forgot what I was going to say because I'm rambling, but it's true. Fuck.
Maybe
What were you going
like
to say? No, the last thing you just said, because it was it. What was the very last thing you said, sir?
just how I know what I like.
Ex,
I
ex,
can like have my companion or a love partner like expect of me, like what I can be expected to bring to like the
right. So
table,
that,
and what I will
exactly.
be consistently be when I'm at the table. Is the wording I believe I framed it.
Exactly. Exactly. So you actually said earlier prior to this that there's levels to this game, right? So with these levels or whatever, there's people with different perceptual consciousness, awareness, and evolution. Like you heard the phrase "an old soul" or "new soul," but like you say, we're at a base level. But there's in this world, why people like us came in. You guys know about this little weird mass awakening shit that's been going on ever since God, I think this stuff has been going on since like shortly after Woodstock. And that's so funny, but there's many different souls coming in. And so it's going to be hard for people like us to find a partner that is consciously aware at the level that we are. And I know every single one of you here, you'll go into a social situation almost always reluctantly, and still, you could be around a million people, but you could never really find at least one that you would be like, hey, I want to really connect with this person. And it's funny because the people that we connect with, we connect through the interwebs. You know what I mean? And it's like we're so spread apart, and it's like everything's so surface level. So once you take off the glasses and you see beyond this fallacy, you can't put the glasses back on. And you want someone that has taken their glasses off. You know what I mean?
I
I
use
understand.
the rhetoric of just like I try to be blind in my eyes and see people with my heart type thing, and I think that kind of is resonating
That's
in.
exactly what we're doing. And that's what most people don't. This is the expansion, the energetic expansion of your heart field. This was
I
planted
wanna
thousands of years ago. You want
I
me to
wanna
get really weird?
touch on what Venta said, and it's not necessarily what you said; it's how you said it. And again, this isn't. I want you to know that I respect everything you've been saying thus far, and this has nothing to do with your own personal, like who you are. Like I'm just like pretty much having a conversation. But you know, when I hear when I hear people speak the way you just did, as far as like we have Like there's not like people like us. There's not people with this. Okay, cool. All right, Vinta.
When I
Okay, so
we, I think you're getting caught up in the verbiage, and
no, so
I when
so
I
the thing
you
is
know we are
this.
all when I say we all have a soul, right? There's an electrical pulse that makes our blood run through our veins, our hearts beat. There has been documentation, there's actually photos of seeing when a sperm goes into a female egg. At the very moment when it breaks through the egg and it seals, there's an
No, it wasn't.
electromagnetic spark of
No,
light. When I say
that
we,
wasn't
I
real.
mean,
Wasn't real.
I don't care if it's real. Light is real. Look at my videos. I call in orbs. You will see them. I've been in contact with plasmatic beings my
No, not
entire
the orb
life.
part, my friend. I wasn't
Ra,
referring to the orb. I was talking about the light. You were talking about the light of
well, okay, well,
conception.
maybe that picture is wrong.
That
Whatever. Who
picture
gives,
you
yeah,
used,
who, hey,
it's
that's small
AI
change.
generated. It's
Hey,
not.
buddy,
It's not real.
that's a straw man
So
argument. Whatever. Okay, who cares? It's not real.
just say it's not real.
Right, great. And you know what? But at the end of the day, it really is because we are all electromagnetic beings. And I use the word we as in we. We are one of many. We are all one. There is no separation. We are more than our physical bodies.
So what I'm saying is this. I understood what you were saying with that, but the verbiage you used when describing we understand certain things, and we like
Crappy and
I
bad
just
at words. Sorry.
no. Listen, look, and that's I just told Chaplin this. It's not so much as the words, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of everything too, not just the words itself. But the thing is this, right? When we talk about like being whole and being one together and stuff like that, that resonates with me, and I can understand you understand that. But when I'm saying that when you identify as knowing a certain particular degree of something, and then you categorize it with us saying, like, I understand that other people don't know this, but we know this. When you speak in that manner, that in itself is in direction of causing the division that you're trying to bring together
Apologize.
as well.
I really do apologize, and I don't mean to overspeak, and I'm not conscious, and thank you for bringing that to my conscious awareness. I'm really excited, and I'm overspeaking right now. TikTok saved my life. It really did. And meeting people like you, Mr. Experiences, and Wendy Be the Change, um, I have never felt more whole. And I get excited. So I apologize. And my wording, I'm not good at speaking, and I don't mean to overspeak. I'm sorry, but thank you.
Look,
What do you mean you're not good at
it's all
speaking,
good.
Venta? Like you can speak,
Look,
so like therefore, like you
it's look,
like
it sucks. It sucks when it comes to have to be the one to say the thing that a lot of people don't. Well, and it's not really just saying the thing, it's being direct with who you're saying it to, and accepting what comes with it, like even the pushback, even the them not accepting your truth, them thinking that it's one thing and it's the other, stuff like that. That there's a whole lot of accountability you have to accept when it comes to addressing someone and their truth. And as much as I can say that everything that I've said is like with just correct, it's not just to correct you, but it's also just to speak with you, because it's like when I see you say you want when I hear you talk about, more harmonic things, and that's your wish, it's like I kind of I take what you're using, and I take what you're doing, and I try to get you to see that, hey, this aligns more with who you are, with what you're saying from your experiences and the tone of voice that you're using. This aligns more with who you are, like, and it's not to put my own spin on it, but it's like I'm hoping that it resonates with you so that you can be better, more better, like at who you are. And I'm just like, here, add this to your collection, because this will make you a lot better too, if that's who you want to be. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I see you building yourself, And it's like I hear it and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. This is who he's trying to be. Here, let me give him this too. Oh, you want to be, you know what I'm saying, a stand up? Here, this is who you can be. This is how you can be that person. And it's like I find jewels within that person. And I'm like, here you go. This is what you might be looking for in the most playful, loving, and respectful manner. Because, you know, like I didn't always have someone helping me see how I could be better. It was always me seeing how I could be better. So the best perspective I can give is from my own, literally my own perspective. And, you know, and then I can then go into other people's perspectives safely while not, you know, challenging my integrity and challenging my way to show up for this person. I actually know who I am and I can sit in my body and I can jump into yours with you and sit with you and be like, you know, we could chop it up all day long till the sun came up. And I'll just find nothing but a bunch of tools to give to you. Like, here you go. This is what you could do to be that type of person you're trying to be. And it's just like, I don't expect anything from you. And I don't want you to talk to me in a way that you think is besuiting of me because that's not genuinely you. I want you to be you while we're talking about, you know, things that we can make ourselves better with. And what you will find is that we can grow together safely without expectations of each other. And the main thing we're doing is planting little seeds in each other's hearts of understanding and willingness to understand. And by doing that, we can change our individual world. And by changing our individual world, then we won't try to change the external world. We will then understand that, well, we don't need to change anything about anything that's consistent because this is always going to happen. The bad things are always going to, it's not to say not to stand in the face, like not to stop something bad to happen, but it's to recognize that in society, bad things will happen. Now, the thing is, it's like when you engage in these bad things that you see happening, you got to think about a lot of people that care about you. You know what I'm saying? Think about all the people that hold you and have changed people's lives. People love you. And when you go to make that courageous
Answer your
act,
question.
absolutely.
All right. So, all right, we've all heard of the NPC deal, right? That whole spiel about people kind of being non-playing characters and they're limited only by their programming, right?
Yeah.
Rather
Right.
than being the free guy like the Ryan Reynolds who like
Right, or level one.
Right,
Level
right,
one. Mario before eating the mushroom, right?
okay, yeah. Or
Totally.
getting the
Mario,
star.
yeah,
Getting the
right.
star,
Or
right?
the
Like
flower, the fire flower.
okay, I'm
Totally.
with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay.
So, do you believe, all right, for instance, think about just, we might not all agree on every single topic that we've spoke of tonight in this room, but we all have a common denominator, and that's questioning and going deeper than well, I'm not, than I know than most humans are able to or capable of. Okay? And when consciousness truly comes together, like, so there's these NPCs out there. Do you believe that there's individualized sparks of consciousness? And how I could sum it up in layman's terms would be like angels. And I'm not saying I'm an angel in a biblical aspect, but what I'm saying is I believe people like us do hold a higher vibration, and I do believe we hold a higher vibrational signature, so we're not limited to the regular program, for instance.
Okay. I can answer that.
Yeah.
And then I'll answer Prince's comment after this. So the thing is this. Those people that we're referring to as NPCs, they're not actually NPCs. They're actually incredibly relevant, and they're incredibly just as important as the people who don't identify as NPCs. The thing is this: the only thing that separates you and I from those NPCs is just awareness. It has nothing to do with the specific placement of anything individually. It's just those people have only experienced a certain level of reality of what they know. And that's where the term comes from. Have you been living under a rock? Because certain people have lived under a rock, not of their own choosing, and some have, but it's in a way of where their state of thinking has been limited to the confines of where their environment was. So it's not to say that these people cannot achieve where we're at, and where we're at is just aware, right? Aware of self, aware of our actions, and that maybe they're not aware of their actions and their stuff because they're responding out of a traumatic experience. So they're recycling and cycling and living the traumatic and experiences, the judgments, the how they feel about self and stuff like that. So when we look at these people as NPCs, they're no different than you and I. Their level of awareness has changed. It's just limited. Now, the thing is this. When you connect with those NPCs and you start to talk with them, and I'm only using NPCs as a way to reference what you guys see it as. The thing is this, right? The NPCs don't drain you. It is your expectation of what they're supposed to be that is draining you. Because if you didn't have any expectation of them, then you wouldn't be using any of your energy to see anything. So it is then your own expectation of how this person is supposed, and that's why I said what I said in the comments, that give me 1 second. I said that I said, what did I say in the comments? I said it becomes it's expectation of being and expectation of performance that is the baseline of pretty much existing, right? You're expected to be a certain type of way, and you're expected to perform a certain type of way by default, of whether it be being a son growing up in a family to provide, whether it be a little girl growing up into to provide or do something like that. You're expected to be something, right? Like that's just what it is. Now, when you can step out of that preconditioning cycle of forcing yourself to be something and expecting others to be something, you'll see that there's nothing that's outside of you that you necessarily need right now to be, to feel, to know, to think, to be, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of different fragments of that. And the thing is that, like, you know, just because you go and talk to somebody doesn't mean they're expected to listen. But then if you go to walk up to them and you expect them to listen, then they're rude, right? But you're rude for expecting them to listen to you. You see what I'm saying? So in a lot of ways that we act as human beings, we contradict the very thing that we're trying to accomplish. And a lot of people aren't aware of themselves, but yet they can give you a description of somebody else, a vivid description of somebody else's life. Those people you should be aware of, because they have no idea about the person that they're talking about to the fullest degree, but they're speaking about that thing or that person or that topic with certainty. And if they can speak about that way and somebody like that to them, then they'll do it to you. And, you know, it's like,
Hey, can I interject? I have to disagree.
what
And you
part of
knew,
it
yeah,
is?
I know you knew I was going to disagree.
No, I didn't know, but I'm glad that we have some type of, you know, let's talk
I
about
feel
it.
okay. So, our experience, right? We're all one, right? So what we did as an individual, infinite point in space time, all energy, all probability, actually, all that Big Bang stuff, that's out. What happened was existence jumped, it quantum tunneled into probability out of nothing. Okay. There's studies that have just been done this year with like scalar waves, light being, what's it called? Having an electromagnetic field, all light. So anything that refracts, and so if you have light do a refraction too, but light also interjects and interacts subtly on an atomic level with matter. We are literally creating, like, imagine a holodeck, you guys. And you know what? Actually, I'm gonna
Wait,
stop. It
can I
doesn't
ask
matter
you what
what
you?
anyone says. You know what this is? We're trying to know what it is to be individualized and experience something else other than ourselves. But yes, go ahead.
So, can I ask you what you disagree with?
Nothing, probably. I think we're all on board with that, right? Or no? I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think you were
So
talking about convincing people. You were talking about convincing people of like certain convictions or like other people had different beliefs or something. Like, I don't know. I popped off. I'm sorry. I'm autistic. I
no,
can't
you're
help it.
good. I wasn't. I was not speaking from a place of trying to convince anyone.
No, you were speaking of others, speaking from a place of conviction and saying as if their experience and imprinting their experience, their individualized personal experience onto others, as if they should accept that person's individualized experience as their own experience in truth. And that's where I go back to dimension, timeline shift, no. Does anyone remember the Mandela effect in the Bernstein Bears? You
how
do
I've heard
it's
about it.
remember?
how
Yeah.
it how it's spelt and stuff like that. Like
Right.
Bearstein,
Do
Bearstein
you remember
versus
the fruit of the
Bernstein.
loom symbol on your underwear and it was a cornucopia stuffed with fruit? No, it wasn't. Not in this timeline.
I was a Haynes man growing up, so this is where I kind of.
Oh, right.
But
Well, yeah,
I'm
I'm
aware of
sorry.
the Mandela
We
effect
were
and like
poor Polish, Khazarian refugee Jews. So, no,
right, like that
yeah.
programming and conditioning that we've been indoctrinated with, where it's just like that's ridiculous, like thing. But at
I
least for
mean,
me,
I'm telling you, that's the thing. Everything's going to break down more and more and make less sense. The more we're able to interact with each other, make connection, and share our experience. Because what is going to happen now, it's been going on, I'd say, for at least 20 years solidly. We're understanding through documented experiences that we don't share the same experience, that we phase in, out, and through probability. Okay? So, how the fuck are you going to have anyone get along when we've been jumping timelines? And modern physics shows it.
well, the thing is, right?
There's right and
People,
wrong, but that's dumb shit. The color shit, no, we're the human race. We're energetic, interdimensional beings. Now let's keep it pushing. I was literally, you know what I was? I had a full past life remembering of Atlantis. I was a brown skinned woman with blue eyes that was an Atlantean priestess. All this shit I do in my hands, I don't know if you guys looked at my videos. That's not practice. I literally write I write biogeometry within my hands. I literally structure energy wave probability and reflect light in a geometrical structure that literally it's ample. It doesn't matter what the fuck I do. But let me tell you something. Nothing really matters. What you guys see here, your meat suit, it's not cute. Hang it up. Hang it up. Dr. Monroe at the Monroe Institute, and I do believe it's in Virginia. I don't know. I never went there. They studied me to fucking perfect the technique. I was a gate kid. I'm a whistleblower. I've been doing this for months, and I told people science is going to catch up with what I'm trying to tell you. And I'm not trying to be cute, grandiose, or narcissistic. It has about a couple days ago. AI Atlas, before the pictures were taken and they showed it, described it. I'll send you all the video before the pictures were even took. Man, this shit goes so deep. There are
I mean,
consciousness awarenesses, and what I believe, and I'm sorry, and I'm doing it now. I am pushing my viewpoint onto others. And my viewpoint is not going to be yours, but that's what we're finding out. None of
but
our
that's
viewpoints are. It's all
but listen,
differentiated. I'm sorry. I love you guys.
and that's look. There's no reason to look, and I want you to know, and I'm about to show you a prime example of what's happening and how to untangle that whole thing that you think is so entangled. When that happens, right? When someone's speaking their point and their truth and then invoking their truth and stuff like that, you admitted it, you've accepted that. Cool. Let me show you something real quick.
Show me.
Now,
Good to
me
see you,
the dog.
Venta. Good to see you and meet you face to face. Add a new layer to this, brother. So
okay,
thank you
so
for
check
that.
this. So check this out. Check this out. I can listen to your truth, right? Take it as your truth, right? I'm not, you're muted.
You can listen to my truth, hold on to it, let it move past you, give me space, but it doesn't have to be your truth.
Exactly, but the thing is this, right? Like I'm when you come across somebody who can listen to your truth and they can accept your truth for that's like as you want it to be,
Yeah.
and they're not trying to wrestle with it, then you'll find yourself not trying to tell that person so much of your truth because they've accepted it, right? Because they know who you are, they know what you're about, they know.
I would never knowingly ever expect anyone to fucking accept my truth. I've bounced around too many times through probable space that no, I would never expect it.
But the thing is, you would knowingly do it because if you didn't, the thing is this: when you go to say a specific truth and you go to speak from a place of understanding, you're saying your truth
Right.
within hoping that it resonates with someone that
In 1987 or whatever it was, did Mandela die or was he held in prison in South Africa, Cape Town?
so that is not for me to debate
It's not a
statistics.
debate, but what do you know from your historical standing, from your viewpoint?
I know
know
that
that
he was
everything
in
that
prison.
happened.
I think that he was free before he didn't die in prison. I don't
He lived
believe.
on in my timeline. And probably most
But
of you here, the Bernstein Bears, like you
Versus
said,
Bernstein
was it
Bears, right?
Bear,
Berenstein
right,
Bears.
Bearstein. It's not Bearstein Bears, it's the Bernstein Bears. Was it different
See,
for you?
I remember it as the
No, it
Berenstein
was the
Bears.
Bernstein. You're right. It was Bernstein. Because it was very fucking Yiddish Jew. It was very fucking Eastern Ashkenazi Jew. Yes, the Bernsteins. Yes, I remember. They lived in Huntington Woods. Yeah. No, but for real, think of that, Mr. Experienced. Really think of that. Think of all the
oh,
Mandela effects. So, what is your reality and your experience when we've all potentially, and what probability is kind of pointing towards, hasn't proven, but quantum probability is pointing towards we all have a differentiated, shared, yet different experience.
okay, boom, I got you. Let me lock in real quick. I got you. Okay. So check this out. The shared experience that we have is life.
Are you
The shared
talking about
experience.
are you talking about racial divide, borders between
No. Let me
countries? All right, I'm
before you
sorry. I'm
interject
sorry. I'm
anymore,
sorry.
let me
I'm gonna
lock
mute.
in.
I'm gonna mute and I'm gonna listen. Give me 1 sec.
So we could talk about quantum this, quantum that, quantum blah 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 blah. We could talk about science, we could talk about books, we could talk about biblical standpoints, blah 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 blah. Okay, we can talk about it all. And guess what? We can always talk about it all. And guess what? Just because we don't talk about it doesn't take away from it either. So even if we don't talk about it, it's still gonna always be there. So boom, skip past that. Number one, shared experiences. We all share the present, and we all lose it. We all share attempting to come into awareness. We all lose it. The thing is this: when it comes to talking about history, right? When it comes to correlating history with the now, when it comes to talking about, things that other people have experienced back in their time and trying to correlate it and justify it with the now, when it comes to trying to do all these things, it's never gonna equate. You know why? And I can tell you why. So check this out. Everything that happened before us applied to the times that it applied to. The wars, the back and forth, the this, the that, the third. It only applied to the times that it was created in.
Have you ever
Now
heard
what's
of
happening?
generational wealth?
Huh?
Have you ever heard of generational wealth or intelligence?
Yes, that and generational wealth that's the purpose of it is for the
It's
generational
because
purpose.
someone 10,000 years ago, 13,000 years ago, had knowledge of these energies, all these things we've been experiencing and waking up to, and it was suppressed. But there was a silent war that was fought. Okay. People have invested death. They have literally conquered civilizations to gain access to interdimensional consciousness, technology, what we would call spiritual insight and intelligence and technology, and hoard it. Okay.
So my thing is this: when you hear me speak, would you assume, by no recollection of knowing or anything like that, by just hearing me speak and we've been having civilized conversation and
You
very
sound like a
poetic
guy on
conversation,
Ancient Aliens.
and that guy would be an established man, correct? Okay, so my thing
He's a
is
great voice
this.
for a narrator. I'll give him that. Justin Young or something like that. I actually
So
don't.
my thing is
Bieber.
this. There is a point. What something looks like and what it sounds like may not be what it actually is.
Never.
And
Never. It
and the
never
thing is
is.
this. The thing is this. You and I'm using it this way because I just want you to see what I'm trying to put down. It's the when we speak about what a person has hoarded or what they know and what they do, we equate that with our own personal
Right.
knowing.
But
But the thing is
you're
this.
speaking of
Hold on.
No, please, because one
Go.
point, and this is one thing I left out. It's not about the accumulation; it's about the direction that someone put into motion, literally thousands of years ago. And when we speak about multi generational wealth or knowledge and stuff like this stuff is passed on through lifetime, but yet it's documented. So someone continues throughout generations and thousands of years and heads towards your goal or what you're seeking or what you're trying to study. Do you understand?
So
So there's not just a
yes. So
lifetime involved. There's multiple souls and lifetimes involved.
well, yeah,
It goes
absolutely.
so deep.
Well, absolutely, but the way you're identifying with that story is not a specific person that's hoarding anything. And there's nobody that's hoarding or stopping anything. There's a point in the time for a system.
It's a conglomerate and it's an entity, and we live under an oligarch, and they run our country now.
It's not an entity either, right? It's so the thing is this: what you choose not to seek out, you just don't know. And it's not to say that what you saw out is the answer, but until you go deep dive, you really don't really know. And anybody that comes to you and say they know anything about a specific something, it has to apply within that specific something's confine. Other than that, it's just pure speculation. Now, all these things of us talking about what happened in the past, of what somebody did or what somebody's, all we can say these things about what people are doing today. There are still people to this day taking versions of the Bible, rescripting it, and then writing a book, and then telling people to go buy their book that is the pride of reference from the Bible, but they're also spinning it to their own way. So the thing is, what I'm saying is, if you're using that analogy and saying that that's how this is being spent, it is not an entity. It is not
It is.
that.
It's a business. It's a conglomerate. It's a conglomerate of control. And when I spoke of the Matrix, and when anyone speaks of the Matrix, what it is, it's by grand design. So this Bible that you speak of that was rewrote, that was the King James version, and I do believe it was like 1762 or something like that. All the fucking Bible was, even but prior to him, it was regurgitation of literal writings that they found on the side of temple walls in the Great Pyramids. It was Thoth, it was Horus, it was Isis. The same stories. Thoth was sent down the river just like Moses, and he was born on the same day as Jesus, I do believe, December 25th. You know what I mean? Like there's a design to all. I'm sorry. I think we're getting off track, but what exactly were you saying again? Say it again, please, because there was a point I wanted to hit, and I feel like I'm sorry. It's my assumption. You said that. Okay, my reality. Okay, we're going back to my reality. Isn't your reality correct?
Sure.
Elaborate, please, on your argument.
Okay. So the thing is this, and this is like the fine lining. If we both understand that you're gonna believe what you're gonna believe,
Right.
and I understand what I'm gonna believe,
Right.
then there is no point to have to
There's
explain
no
what we
point in
believe.
having an argument.
So the thing is this.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, and the thing is this, it's like, okay, once you understand that there's no point to have to put the perspective, then it's like, what do you do? People don't know how to communicate after that. They're just like, oh, well,
But
if we can't.
this is what you can do, because things can get sticky when we're experiencing the here and now, because all there is the here and now. If you see injustice, if you see bad, I'm not trying to get. Step up. Speak up. Say something, or see something, say something. You know what I mean? Just try to be a good person. And it's like, my experience isn't going to be yours. I know I jump timelines. Quantum physics says that they literally fractured a fucking electron at CERN a few months back that touched 37 dimensions. A fractal of a light off of an electron touched 37 different perceivable dimensions. Okay? None of us are going to have consecutive same experience. None of us. But if you see something, say something.
And the point, like, it's, I don't, and I this is just strange to me because I don't understand why people look for similar experiences with other people. Like, I just don't get it because I'm comfortable with who I am and I love who I am. And it's like when when a person comes in contact and they're like forcing me to perform for them, to be a specific way for them.
Shared experience is the number one component to the grand design of everything that we are experiencing. We are all one. We are source. We fractured off of ourselves to experience individuality. it's all that Bob Monroe and what was it? Was it Alan Watts and what was his name? I can't remember. All that trippy dippy shit. The DMT, the Dimitri experiences, like
Yeah, dude, it's a different thing, you know. Man, people's nature, they just like to possess, and it's so sad. They have to possess not only people but an idea. And I feel for people on another level because we don't have to possess the truth to embody it. Like, and people, oh, I have the truth, I know the truth, and blah 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 blah. And people can talk so much about it, but nobody wants to embody it. And you know that takes a lot more work than it is to talk about it. And you know, a lot of people would rather talk about the negative because it's easier to talk about that than it is to talk about the positive. But nobody wants to have the courage to talk about the positive because, oh, well, who wants to be positive all the time? The people who understand, the people who understand what, you know, what it takes to be positive.
anyone that ever told you that you could be positive 100% of the fucking time is suffering from some type of paranoid delusion.
Right. This is where I came to like the saying, you know, like glass half empty, glass half full. Either way, you won't be going thirsty, right? So it's like a new way of just looking at like the same thing that changed my like awareness, just in the context of what we were talking about, into a higher state of being conscious, a quantum state, rather than like this. I divide it as like the classical versus the quantum state, but in between that was this age of like the super computing like machines and stuff like that. If that resonates with anybody here, but
Quantum awareness and
Hold
expansion
on.
through our heart field. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Before we go into another conversation, I would like to
tangent.
bring it back down to the prompt. We do have a new panelist. Dot, how we doing? Or I believe it was Emily, but Dot, you good? I just want to allow her a chance to speak.
Yeah, hey, what's up? Sorry.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you guys?
It's not too bad.
We're good.
Living the dream. Did you want to interject in the conversation or answer the prompt?
No, I actually just chimed in, so I'm just now listening to everything that's going on.
Welcome, welcome to the discussion.
All right, all right. Well, I will reiterate the prompt again because I do know we kind of trailed off topic with it. Why do people pretend to help? Now, this can be metaphorically, like any way you can understand this prompt and answer it. That is the way we're telling it. Anybody's able to answer the question. There are no right or wrong answers, but be respectful and mindful of what you say, as there are viewers and people who may not agree. And the thing is this, guys, and I'm probably gonna like, I don't know, I don't know, man, because I have to kind of, I'm gonna be landing my plane here soon, and like by plane I mean the panel. Just that's 1 o'clock, and I have to be at work here soon. So I will.
I as well. So thank you for saying that, brother. Yeah, I do have a limit in just
Of
kind of
course,
like
of course. So I will say one last thing, just for the viewers and everybody still out there. You know, just some wise words of encouragement and stuff. I appreciate that, Vinta. You know, it's really, really difficult to do anything. You know, it's really, really difficult to get out of bed, It's really difficult to open your eyes. It's really difficult to brush your teeth. And hey, check this out. A lot of people go, well, it's not that difficult to do that. Not for you. Okay. Not for you. But for somebody else, it's incredibly difficult. And I think, when it comes to trying to call ourselves or be somebody, when we're talking about ourselves, just be mindful that, just because you have the capability to do it doesn't mean other people do. And just because you believe in something doesn't mean other people will. And it doesn't have to be this, back and forth. You can respect differences, but also just, understand what you're meant to do. And sometimes it's just meant to be yourself. And you don't always have to give an opinion. You don't always have to chime into the discussion. Sometimes it's just meant for you to sit, Just because you're in a specific place doesn't mean you should, talk or and just because you're in the back doesn't mean you shouldn't be in the front. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be at the front of the class. So it's just really important when we try to put expectations of others, and we really should just be, doing what we need to do for ourselves, and spread more kindness. Be the first person to take a stand when you see something, and when you take a stand, don't just do it because you'll get validated for it. Do it because that's genuinely what you want to do, and that's who you are. When someone does stuff like that, they accept all repercussions. They accept everything that comes with it, and that's just got to be mindful. Be mindful of what you choose to accept, and be understanding of how important you are to someone else, because you might be a hero in your eyes, but you might be, taking someone's life away from them, which is you. You don't need to jump in and try to save everybody, because, you're just as valuable as the person you're saving. And, it's to be mindful of those situations, It's not to say that you shouldn't do what you're supposed to do, but sometimes it doesn't have to be you. Sometimes it doesn't have to fall in your hands. And, it doesn't have to cause more burials than it needs. Like, it can just be one as simple as making a phone call, like making a call, making a change, making a stand,
Or picking up
taking
a
a stand.
call, right? Picking up a call even
Yeah.
more so too, also, brother.
Yeah, yeah, picking up a call,
Everything is connected to the next thing, right? So I again, I'm so grateful just for being part of this panel, just from what I was on before on my own panel. But again, I took away a lot. I found this very enlightening, and I thank you for that. And I hope Vente, I didn't get to say goodbye, but it was great meeting you, and Prince. Thank you for just kind of just being up here and listening. And you also were one of the first ones in the comments to just kind of greet me and just make me. So thank you all for that. And I look forward to just reconnecting going forward, Mr. Experience, if you'll add me, of course. And if you ever stumble upon my life, please come up and just share your insight and experience, because I think it's very invaluable, if anything, if I may say, not to blow up your ego or anything, which I know it's not going to, but I feel like I'm aware of what you are teaching on here, especially to each one of us, and I hope that just each one of us is able to kind of take that seed and hopefully get the water that we need to let that seed grow into just a living. I don't know. My father always told me humans are like plants, and we have water, in the sense of charity and stuff like that, and homelessness. I could go deeper into this conversation, which I know we're kind of restricted on time, but again, just thank you so much for just your candor, and just your gusto on doing what you're doing here, brother, because I do believe that we are key key pieces to just kind of putting all of this together, for people to see if that makes any sense without any kind of backlash. But again, thank you again, and sorry to kind of cut out so abruptly, but again, I'm just so grateful that like I was finally in this present moment, which I know was already, by my belief, planned by God, who I call source energy as well. But I just am grateful to God for allowing this to be part of His plan and for us to be present when this moment came to be. So if that's not too preachy or anything like that, I love you, Mr. Experienced, and I love everybody I got to meet on this panel, and hope everybody remains blessed and in the light and just in a state of constant learning about ourselves and others, if that resonates. So thank you so much, and yeah, I will see you soon, I pray. So
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate
thank
that a
you.
lot.
I appreciate you.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
coming.
you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you for having me.